problem set number 3 is what I want to look at. And this is going to help you on the very last question for your Tower of Power on CERN, lesson 12. So even if you don't get to that problem until this afternoon, keep this paper with you in case you think you'll need it. Okay, does that make sense? Right, I'm going to read it and then I'm going to show you how it's like the one on CERN. Hanley is putting carpet in her house. She wants to carpet her living room, which measures 15 feet by 12 1/3 feet. She also wants to carpet her dining room, which is 10 1/4 by 10 1/3 feet. How many square feet of carpet will she need to cover both rooms? Okay, so basically, we have to do 2 area models and then add the answers together, okay? And this is going to help you on CERN. So I'm drawing a line down there so I can do my 2 area models, okay, and then add them together. I'm also going to put down my 2 problems, okay? So, and I'm not putting feet in the problem. 15 times 12 1/3. That's the living room, right? Okay, we'll get an answer for that one. And then I've got 10 1/4 times 10 1/3. And honestly, boys and girls, on CERN, it was 10 1/2 by 10 1/3. So it's very similar, okay? All right, so 2 area models. That's what we're doing. The first area model is just going to look like this. Why is that?
Because there's a whole number.
There's a whole
And also
number.
there's a
Very
decimal.
good. So this is a whole number, and then we have a mixed number. Okay? So get that labeled. And everyone's writing this because it's going to help you when you get to CERN and try and solve that. Okay, so 12 times 15. I don't know that. I'm going to do it down here. That's turtle head multiplication, right? I think I'll put the 12 on the bottom. 2 is easier to multiply than 5, right? Okay, so figure out the answer. Everyone. Don't forget your X's and O's. Did you see I messed up? Okay, so what'd you get?
180.
180. So 180 feet squared. Can someone get the door, please? Thank you, Dara. Okay, so that's right here, the area of this rectangle. Now we have to do 1/3 times 15. And kids are forgetting that when I do 1/3 times 15, it's really 15 copies of 1/3. So it's 15 times 1 over 3. 15 thirds. And I'm going to go ahead and divide that out. What's 15 divided by 3?
5.
So do I have a total for for the living room?
Yes.
Yeah. What am I going to add together to get my total here? 180 plus 5. So 185 square feet for the living room. Okay, get that written down. So for the dining room, let's draw an area model for it. It's going to look a little different. Why do I draw it like that, Abby?
Because there's 2 fractions.
There's 2 mixed numbers, so there's 2 fractions. So 10 1/4 and 10 1/3. CERN puts the feet on there for you, doesn't it? You don't have to write it or type it. Okay, we know 10 times 10. 100 feet squared. Now, 10 copies of 1/4. So it's going to look like this. 10 times 1/4. Or 1/4 times 10.
10 fourths.
10 fourths. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it as a fraction for now. And then I've got 1/3 times 10. 10 thirds. And then I've got 1/3 times 1/4. 1/12. Sometimes it helps kids to go ahead and write that down. Okay, now this is, I'm going to pause it real quick. All right, so if I'm going to add 3 fractions, and I think I'm going to just have to do my work down below a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is I want to highlight all these numbers I'm going to add together because there's going to be 4 of them, okay? So then after that, I'm going to write a problem, and then I've got to find common denominators, don't I? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's write the problem. I'm going to write 100 plus 10/4 plus 10/3 plus 1/12. And I'm going to solve that problem, and then I'll go back up and finish the other one. Okay, so how am I going to do this?
You can multiply. Break it apart.
Okay, so first of all, let's get our equal signs on there, right? Am I going to have something, am I going to have a whole number at the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is it? Okay, so get that on there. You know that much, don't you? And some of you have already passed lesson 12 on Zern, so you know what to do. Now, eventually you'll be able to do this part in your head, but is it a good idea to go ahead and write it down right now? It is, because you've got to find a common denominator for these 3 denominators. Now, I noticed something. Did anyone else notice that we haven't been multiplying denominators together? We've just been picking the largest one. So, Chloe, which one of these is my largest denominator?
10/4.
No, denominator. Okay, so 12 is my largest denominator. Do 4 and 3 both divide into 12?
Yes.
So we'll just use 12, okay? So 4 times what, boys and girls, equals 12? 3. So 3 times what equals 12? 4. And then I've got 12 times 1, right? And did you notice that Pancho's name is not on the board?
Why?
Probably because he passed it after I taught him how to do it in class. Just like a lot of you are going to do, okay? So if you get 3 fractions, you're going to have 3 sets of parentheses. Then you add all this up. 71/12, right? Right? We can do this. How do I change 71/12 to a mixed number? 71 divided by 12. Write it down. Okay? Now I know 12 times 6 is 72. And that's too big. So it's going to be good. What's 12 times 5, George? Abiel? Eurydia? 60. Okay? So then I'm going to get a fraction for my answer. Now I had someone in block 4 that didn't know how to make a fraction out of the remainder and the divisor. That's just not okay, is it? We all know how to do that. So Cadence, tell me how to do that.
11/12.
Good. I'm going to write my remainder on top of my divisor. Okay? So I'm going to add 5 and 11/12 to 100. That's going to be pretty easy to add, isn't it? I'm almost out of room. But I'm going to do 105, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And what's my fraction?
11/12.
Okay, now I'm not done. That's the thing. Now I know this. Right. So what will I add here? 185, because that's the first, that's the living room, and the dining room is 105, and that makes sense. Your living room is usually larger than your dining room, isn't it? Okay, so go ahead and add those up on your paper, even though if you can do it in your head. That way, if you need to use this paper for Zern, you'll remember this last step. Here's how I write it. You can write it however you want. Julian said, can I just add those up and then write the fraction on there? I said, sure. It doesn't matter. So do I have an area for how much carpet we need to buy here?
Yes.
Yes. So probably buy about 291 feet of carpet. What do you think? And then they're going to have to cut it?
Yeah.
Cut a little bit off? Okay. All right. So that will help you with CERN. Okay? How do you feel about it?
Good.
It's 2, but they're a little bit different. This one was so simple we could add it in our heads. And then this one, we had to add 3 fractions. Okay? Let's take a look at your exit ticket. Now, we measured these in block 1. So let me see if I can remember. I wrote them down. Okay. So the problem I want you to write is 2 1/4 times 1 1/2. You don't have to write your inches or anything on that problem. Why do I want you to have that problem? So that you can know what to put on your area model. Okay, so do I have 2 fractions here?
Yes.
I do. Okay. So, Josue, what goes up here at the top? 2 and 1/4. Good. With your inches, right? Okay. Emiliano, what goes over here on the side?
1 and
Good, and they're inches, right? Okay, so when you get done with your area model, you get it all filled in. Be careful, there's some tricks. You're going to highlight, you don't have to highlight. And then how many numbers are you going to add?
4.
4. And even if you can add some in your head, go ahead and write them all down. Then you're going to have something plus, then you'll have, I'm helping you too much, aren't I?
No, you're fine.
Okay. How's that?
Good.
Think you can handle it?
Yeah.
This one is going to have to be inches squared for your label. Okay. Once you finish that and you bring it to me, get those certain lessons taken care of. Okay? Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right.